Welcome back to Artificial Antics, where Rico and Mike will talk about the implications and opportunities around artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. In this episode, Changing the Game in Sales with AI, the impact of AI on sales strategies and customer engagement, the guys talk with Tim Cakir. Tim is a seasoned entrepreneur with a wealth of knowledge in AI and optimizing sales and marketing pipelines. He's currently the CEO at TaskDrive and has a fascinating journey we're excited to share with you.
Hey everybody, this is Mike from Artificial Antics. I'm here with my co-host Rico today and our guest Tim Cakir. We are talking to Tim about his AI journey and optimizing the sales and marketing pipelines. Tim is from a company, actually multiple companies. Tim, I'll let you talk more about that. But he's currently also the CEO at TaskDrive. And Rico, I'll pass it over to you.
Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing this morning? I'm really happy to have another international guest. It seems like that's kind of the direction of the show, and we love having him on. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Tim and let him talk to you about his AI businesses.
Hello, everybody. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Rico. Yeah, I think international. I'm from the other side of the ocean, from Turkey, Bodrum, south of Turkey. I'm very excited for this episode because we've had a pre-talk, and I think that we have a lot of great things to discuss together. As Mike, you said, I'm right now the CEO of TaskDrive. But let's talk about how I got there, I guess, right? Because I think you guys were quite interested about that. So when I was very young, actually, as you can see, potentially, if you are watching and not listening, you can see a lot of electronics around me. I'm actually a sound engineer. When I was a very young kid, I used to buy like old mixers or whatever I could find electronic, and I would just pull them apart, see if I can reconnect them into different things. So I've done some crazy projects. Most of the time I couldn't reconnect them, but it was just experimentation and failing.
I think try.
Yeah, extra parts left over afterwards, right?
Yeah, exactly, and then it wouldn't work. Right. I think my parents were not very happy because they had bought a new phone that was wireless in the house, and I would just take it all apart and try to do things with it and stuff. So I've wasted a lot of their products, I guess, that they bought. But it was good times, and I always had an interest about technology, but I didn't know where it was. So when I moved to the US, I was a year in Seattle and then about 6 in LA. And in Los Angeles, I started selling carpets. I also understood that, I had to earn some money and not just tinker around with electronics. So I started selling carpets door to door. I did the US tour a couple of times with a truck. It was really fun. And as you guys remember, of course, before or the early internet, and door to door sales and stuff. So that was, so that was really good times. And what I figured back then was that I was selling things to people that didn't actually need it, right? But I needed the money, so I was kind of forcing them into this amazing flying carpet, right? It wasn't flying, but I just throw it around and be like, look, it's flying, right? And just convince them, make them laugh and sell them a carpet. So, I do remember, and I always tell the story because you can't do that today. But back then, I sold a $170 carpet for $11,000. So that was one of the best profit margins I've seen still. Yeah, it's crazy. And sadly, I'm going to accept it, but it was a lot of BS, right? You'd say, this color was made out of the blood of this animal, blah, blah, blah. Like you had so much, BS around how the carpets, the rugs were made and stuff like that, because it was coming from Turkey. It was a bit Oriental. It was, so there was the whole story, and I was a different personality and it was crazy stuff, But then I figured marketing. I was like, oh, okay. So there is, digital marketing had started. We had early days of Facebook and stuff like that. So when I discovered digital marketing, I really got into it because I was like, okay, I can find people across the globe that could want a product that I'm selling, and I don't just have to force sell it to them. I just have to show it to them. That really got me excited, and I got into marketing. Then I moved to London, UK, where I kind of mixed sound engineering, as I said, because I studied sound engineering. I mixed sound engineering with my new marketing skills that I was learning. I was still learning them. And I had a recording studio. I had an online radio station, an underground online radio station with 35 techno shows, weekly techno shows, so a bit intense music, when I think about it now. And, now I can't listen to techno that much.
I listened to it a lot in the early 2000s. Yeah,
same. Yeah, exactly.
Huge in Germany at the time. That's right.
Yeah, in London as well, in the UK, I think it's still quite big, but, things have changed. When you have kids and family, you can't listen to techno at home, can you? It's a bit dark. So then I had a techno party of 2,000 people for a few years as well, a monthly party and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm doing everything marketing, and marketing started to become really something that I absolutely adored and loved. And I was like, okay, this is where I'm going to continue my career. And I was lucky enough to get into like old school publishing companies and help them digitalize their offerings. So that kind of gave my marketing plus my digital things that I love to learn, technology and stuff like that. So I became head of digital very quickly back then. And I moved to Barcelona, Spain. And in Barcelona, Spain, I helped a lot of startups, lots of B2B SaaS startups in being their growth consultant. I was their growth consultant. I would get rid of sales and marketing teams, and I would combine them into a growth team so they could experiment quickly, have cross-skill teams, different skill sets, so they could question each other, so they could really find experiments that they would never think of if they were just a marketing team or if they were just a sales team. That went quite well. And as you guys remember, there was the growth hacking phase when growth hacking was cool. The pirate stuff was cool, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll ride that wave as well. And I did ride that wave for a bit, but then I realized that wasn't very sustainable, and that's how I really got into more operational growth. How the process is, the technology behind it, and not just the experimentation, and not just the scraping the websites and databases and hacking data and stealing people's data online and stuff. I was like, that's not sustainable. So then I got that. Then I really got into growth consultancy, a sustainable growth consultancy methodology. And then I was actually working for an AI company when AI wasn't sexy. It was all CTO work, wasn't it? And we were doing computer vision for real estate, so image recognition for real estate. It was really not fun. There was a really long sales cycle, 18 months, because it was very early days. Nobody knew what it did and stuff like that. But I started thinking about this lately because I was like, ooh, I didn't care about AI back then. But when ChatGPT came alive, November 2022, wasn't it? Yeah, 2022. I couldn't sleep. I was like, wow, this is awesome, right? And my wife kind of was a bit worried, I guess. She was like, oh, what is he doing? Right. And luckily I was just on ChatGPT, right? So I was testing the boundaries of it, what I could achieve, what I couldn't achieve, what it did, and the results it would bring me and stuff like that. And that brings me to TaskDrive. And I had just started TaskDrive, joined as a partner and a chief growth officer back then, now the CEO for the last couple of years. And that's when, after work, I was really into AI, and we started to think about how can we change the sales game, because we were a sales outsourcing company. So we would give you SDRs, dedicated SDRs, and lead research. And we're like, okay, AI is here to stay, right? So we kind of experimented a lot with it, and we've trained all our team into prompt engineering, ChatGPT, and different kind of things, the skill sets around the AI topic. That went well. And so we're starting a new venture. I don't know if I should get into that now because I've spoken a lot. But now it's switching from TaskDrive to something completely much more AI native, or AI first, as I would call it.
Yeah, that's awesome, Tim. So one of the things that I was really interested in, I know the listeners, because I'm not kidding, at least 10 people ask me, hey, when are you going to have somebody on about sales and marketing and, like GTM stuff, right? So before we get into your new venture, could we talk a little bit about some of the things that you you have some wins that you had, let's say even some learnings that you had, right? When trying to use these things in like your day to day, and like, actually get some wins on the sales side or the GTM side or the growth side, as you call it, right? Could we go through at least a few of those? And then absolutely, we're very interested in hearing about the new business.
Yeah, I think, the biggest mistakes we do in AI when we're putting it into our teams is, the boss or the leader or the manager, the director, whatever, says, okay, we're going to use AI. And it's like, here's ChatGPT and go use it kind of thing.
Right.
And it's like, and we've tried that in the beginning, and it was quite frustrating. It's like, hey guys, we're bringing you super cool stuff. Why are you not using it?
Super cool. Yeah.
Exactly. Why don't you
love it? Why don't you love it like I love it? Why aren't you up at night like I'm up at night? Right.
That's exactly what happened, guys. And it was like, everybody was like, well, why does he love it? I don't know. If he loves it, I should not love it. Right. So there was quite a big gap between managerial and day-to-day roles. And we started experimenting a little bit more, and then we started seeing that we had to, or when I say we, a bit more, head of operations, CEO, myself, we were like, okay, here are some prompts for that process, for that SOP that you run, right? Let's update that, update the document, put the prompt in, say what they're going to fill up, the placeholders, and show them that. And then let them use it a couple times, or show it to them, right, and use it. And then a process that would take you, let's say, an hour, would take you 15 minutes, right? Mm-hmm. And they would be like, oh, that's the light bulb moment, right? Yeah. And when that light bulb moment happened, they're like, okay, it's not here to get my job. No, it's here to actually make you more efficient. And, we had to repeat that it's not here to get your job, it's to make you more efficient, right? And what I always say is, one person plus AI equals to 5 minus AI, right? So if you're the one with the AI skills, you can do the job of 5. So I will make sure to keep you in the company. I will make sure that you're good. So when we started to take that approach, things went a little bit better. And just, I guess, tying it into more go-to-market kind of thing, marketing or sales tasks. Mm-hmm. When we did lead research, and I'm sure a lot of people that are listening still do lead research, and it takes you hours. It could take you a couple of hours, Absolutely. 3 hours a day in the morning. You're like, all right, I'm going to do my lead research because I want to know the 20 people or the 30 people I'm going to target today, right? Yeah. And you really want to find the good accounts. You want to do a bit of ABS, or account-based selling and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So you look at their website, you read their mission, you read their about section, you look if they have investment, you look at all that stuff. And usually that's quite draining because you're absorbing so much information and trying to filter down to the leads that you need to contact. And then you suddenly have to act as almost this bipolar person, because you were very introverted doing data stuff, lead researching, and now you got to be an extrovert and talk to people and maybe create a little video to send it to them and stuff like that. So we were like, okay, that's definitely 2 different roles, which a bunch of company has done, right? So you could do lead research and then a bit of the SDR or the account executive role. But still a lot of account executive, especially good ones, they'll do their own lead research because they want to make sure the quality of the lead is what they need. Right. When you plug in a bit of AI into lead research, today you have tools like Clay that has Clayagent. I don't know if you guys know, but if not, check it out, everybody.
Haven't heard it.
Yeah, Clay is incredible at sales stuff, like at lead research, and it has this feature called Clayagent, like an agent, but Clayagent, and you could just put a spreadsheet of thousands or 10,000s of URLs and actually ask it to visit all these websites and tell you the mission, or you could even write a prompt and say, does this fit this, score them and stuff like that. And that happens in minutes while you're grabbing your coffee, or while you're visiting the bathroom and you come back, everything's done for you. Right. And then your energy is still there, and now you're ready to tackle those leads. So when we saw this shift in seeing what is the repetitive work that we can plug in a bit of AI, and just a tiny bit of AI there saves you a couple hours a day, right?
Sure.
And that made me super curious in starting to look at marketing. What does marketing people do repetitively? What does salespeople do repetitively? What does operation people like? I got out of a bit of the go-to-market team, like even operations. I think operational efficiency is also growth. It's huge growth. Yeah, recruitment is growth. HR is growth. Everything is growth, as long as you can keep the quality or even increase the quality while reducing the time spent on the tasks. So that's kind of the couple of examples I'll give very quickly, and even a tool as Clay that people can check out.
That's fantastic. That's all good stuff.
Well, I mean, from the examples that I gave about go-to-market, marketing, sales, and so on, and as I was mentioning, in operational efficiency, I was a COO at some point because I'm a curious person. I have ADHD, so I got to do different things and learn, because if I'm not learning, I'm dead.
Right. Agreed.
So, I'm with you there.
So I was like, oh, I want to learn operations. I want to learn marketing. I want to learn sales. I want to learn this. I want to learn everything. What we realized at TaskDrive is that, okay, this is great that we're doing that for ourselves and for the outsourced people that we provide to our clients. But there is such a big market out there, and a lot of people are actually struggling because they see AI sometimes as a gimmick, or the word AI actually is not, it's a gimmick as well, because it's machine learning, right? There's so much more to it and so on. And when I was digging into that, I was like, okay. There's so much more we can do. And this is where me and my business partner, were like, okay, why don't we go help more people? And this kind of started with training, because we started to do masterminds and training, first of all, our employees, but we started to invite clients of TaskDrive and help them on the AI journey. And every Friday we have a mastermind, and everybody can join from our team, from our clients' team as well. And we just let that open to our clients. And then everybody that would see the benefit of it would be quite excited about it. And then I've tested just to see product market fit on my side, on my own time, a 12-week AI first mindset training program. So that's the name, 12-week AI first mindset training program. Nice. It's basically, I have a post-it here that I'm going to show. I don't know, the people that are not watching might not see it, but it's AI ? It's a post-it I just grabbed. It's under my screen. It's like the biggest post-it, or the most central post-it that I have. A little bit old school. But that makes me think of AI, right? When I'm doing something, I'm like, AI ? Oh, how can I do this with AI? So
that's genius. That's really genius. I knew what you were right when you held it up. It took me a second. I'm like, oh my gosh, can I do this with AI?
It's like, is there an easier way?
That's a great idea. I'm stealing that one, Tim. It's really smart.
Yeah, well, please do steal it. It's not my idea. Actually, I stole it from someone as well. So that's fine. I do look up to someone in the AI world, Ali K. Miller, and I quite follow her. I'm a big fan of her. Yeah, she's awesome. And she kind of showed this AI posted at one of her Instagram videos or something. I was like, wow, that is genius. Really smart, and I put it on my screen, and my clients now, most of them have them in their office, or they'll have a bigger post-it or a poster even, or some post-its around, and it says AI ? And that gave me finally a mission in life. I always was confused about what am I doing. I was a professor at university for 3 years, on my free time again. And I love to help people. And I said, okay, how can I help people become an AI first mindset, like to adopt an AI first mindset, so they could remove the mundane, repetitive tasks out of their hands? Because, the days that you don't like work, most of the time is because you're doing that admin work, you're doing that repetitive work. You're like, oh my God, why am I using my brain for this stuff?
Right.
And I've asked that to myself many times, and I've quit jobs in the past because I was like, I don't want to keep doing that repetitive work. I like the creative part of it, but every creative part had a lot of the mundane work as well. So I've changed jobs a lot and see if I could find something that fits me. And, then I watched, I think it was a Zoom webinar, and there was a study from Accenture. 62% of our daily work is repetitive, right? There's an average, of course, of every role and stuff like that.
Sure.
And I was like, wow, 62% of our day is repetitive admin type of work, mundane task, low cognitive work that doesn't make my brain fire up like crazy. So I was like, okay, well, I'll make myself that mission to help people remove or reduce that 62% of that work, and hashtag make work more fun. So when I gave that myself, which is, a few months ago, but now it's starting to be very official in my head, and I'm writing it down in places, and I just changed actually even my LinkedIn headline, and and I'm slowly really adopting that myself and as a mission. So my mission has been now to help everybody out there, personally and professionally. And I'm going to say personally as well, because I fix my pool with AI. I can explain that in a bit if you want.
Yeah.
Sure.
I can I can do anything with AI, right? So that's how AI Operator. AI Operator was a side project we were testing. So the website right now is a little bit the VA stuff that we tested and then we brought into TaskDrive, but we're going to update the website in the next couple of weeks. And AI Operator is going to be automation, consulting, and training. So on the automation is coming and helping you find those processes that are mundane, repetitive, help you automate those. Consulting, so that if you're looking for a new tool, you're looking for something new, you have questions, you want somebody to come and sit on your leadership meeting and tell you what are the possibilities and what are not the possibilities yet, what's the privacy, the security and stuff like that. So that's really on the consulting side. And the training side, we do have product market fit, which is right now our 12-week AI first mindset training program. So that's what's coming next in my career.
That's awesome. I just want to point out, one of the common themes I see in everyone that we talk to is that usually there's a person or a group of people who, come by AI, they start learning it, they start figuring it out, and they don't just harbor it. They always want to help somebody else.
Yeah.
Or, and I mean, we've discussed before, that's how Mike got me into it. He said, what are some things you don't like to do? You can go ahead and check this out, and I'll show you a couple things. And that's how I adopted it. We talked to Wendy from BDC Angels and the human side of AI. And the theme there, if you talk to any of those people who are business owners, CEOs, founders, it's the same thing. They had a concept or an idea. They found a way to use AI to make those tasks easier. And then their immediate next thought is, how can I bring this to other people to show them?
How can I share?
And,
share the love.
And I mean, it goes for Tim Hayden. It goes for any of those people. They immediately think, of a problem they're solving for themselves. And, Jack McMahon, same thing.
Right.
Everybody's journey is slightly different, but one common theme I see following through, as well with you, Tim, is that how can I bring this to other people and make their lives easier, both personally and professionally? So I think that's a big takeaway here. I think that's kind of the key forward for adoption of AI, because we know, we keep talking about the newsletter that as far as transparency, some of the AI companies aren't doing so well, but from the user standpoint, a lot of folks are being very transparent with how they're using it and showing others. And I just think that's commendable. And I love seeing that theme kind of play out as we see AI move forward. So,
well, I had a client that said, I love spending time with you because you've been down the rabbit holes, and I don't have to go down those rabbit holes. Thank you very much.
Right.
And I was like, oh, okay. So that's also beneficial for people, me actually going down every night down those rabbit holes and researching and testing things and stuff. And then I was like, okay, I can bring this to people. So that is a valuable content or knowledge and stuff. So I started to share it in that way. And, one of the other examples, I guess, is we're like, okay, we go to ChatGPT every day. We create new prompts, or we have a prompt library. Hopefully a lot of people don't have prompt libraries. So this is kind of like a warning: have a prompt library. At least
good one.
So I was using AI PRM. It's a Chrome extension where you can host your prompt library, and it sits on top of your ChatGPT. So you automatically, all your prompts are available for you there. You just click a button and it injects it inside ChatGPT. And then I was like, okay, we started to build this prompt library for our team. I started to give away these prompts, my newsletter on LinkedIn and so on. And I was like, okay, it still takes time to find the right prompt, copy it, paste it, and then reiterate on the prompt and answer, do the chain of thought methodology with ChatGPT and stuff. And I was like, okay, what is out there that, can help with this? And I found Mind Studio. Mind Studio, an amazing no-code LLM builder, or an AI app builder. And the past, I think, 3 months now, I've been studying that every weekend. I just got level 3 AI expert certified by Mind Studio.
Nice.
Just got my agency partnership badge and so on.
Nice.
And I went down that rabbit hole as well.
Yeah.
That was another one. I was like, oh, that took 3 months. Every weekend. My wife and kids are not as happy, but it's the right time, the right place to do it.
Yeah.
And now, I have this concept that I've built for a couple of people. We built it for ourselves, and people are quite interested in it. It's workstations. Workstations for a job description, or a workstation for a team. So that instead of going to ChatGPT or anywhere like that, you go to your workstation designed for you, right? Custom designed, custom engineered for you. And then you have some options, weekly newsletter, you have email campaign, you have webinar brainstorming, you have all these little buttons, which are your processes that you do anyways, that you were doing your best with different prompts and putting them together and then answering and so on. So now we're able to take your processes, or hopefully they're not in your mind, but they're in a document. If they're in your mind, we put it in a document first. I love process are in people's minds, as you guys know. And it's like, how do you do that? It's like, sorry.
I was gonna say bad for the ADHD person, right? Like, I'll remember that. Yeah, sure you will.
You're right.
Exactly. Not when you want to.
Exactly. And that's kind of, I was like, oh, who knows how to do this? It's like, just me. It's like, you feel important. That's awesome. But I was like, okay, can we put that in a document? Can we create a flow chart? And when we created those flow charts, we could see that we could actually build that into an application like Mind Studio. There's a bunch of other ones, but I chose that one. And then have different large language models as well in different steps, because, a GPT-4o is good at certain things, but is not as good at natural sounding content as Claude 3.5 Sonnet. Right. So you could combine different large language models, different prompts, different large language models, different functions like web scraping, so that if you are a salesperson and you have a workstation that says who's the lead you're following up with, you have your Zoom transcript and you have the website, that asks you copy paste the Zoom transcript, put the URL of the client, it goes, scrapes it, and then you have already all the prompts, your product services in the background already engineered for you or documented and put in for you. And then suddenly in a minute's time, you have your follow-up, you have your CRM notes, and you can even go the extra mile when you see the CRM notes and you like it, you say, okay, yes. And I feed that automatically into your CRM so that you don't even have to go open up that ugly Salesforce. And it's automatically fed. And you're like, oh, well, that's awesome. Friday, end of week report. You click a button, asks you 6 questions. You have your report ready, the email ready to send to your manager and to the CEO or things like that. So those little things that saves you a couple hours here, a couple hours there, a couple hours there, put into a workstation, it saves you about, I'd say 8 to 12 hours a week. That's huge. It's huge. That is a huge number of hours saving. And we all think about the efficiency and the resource, but we don't think about the mental health of people. So when you remove that repetitive work, it becomes #make work more fun. And suddenly everybody's like, oh, I do great things. I speak to clients, I design campaigns, and I don't have to do the reporting. I mean, you do it, but so much more efficient. People are happier. And when people are happier, they can really start thinking about bigger things and solving bigger problems in the world. Hopefully, that's kind of also the goal, I think.
I was going to say there's a what do they call it? I guess a statement here in the United States says "Happy cows make more milk." Right? It's a sign somebody put in my office down south, and it's so true. You know, like when you're into what you're doing, you get rid of those mundane things. People are just going to produce more, and they're also going to come up with more ideas on their own instead of being fed it or being told to do it like a task. So it's a great way to get to adoption.
Yeah, there's a YouTuber out there. It's Nerdy Novelist, and so one of the things he writes, right, and he's one of the writers who is embracing AI. Now, that's not to say he's using it for every word. Like, he's not at all, right? But what he said is, this might not even save me any time. What it does save me a ton of is cognitive overhead and, things that I have to think about that I really shouldn't need to think about, right? To your point, Tim. So his mental, he's like before, I might not do something because I know the work involved in that thing. Now I'm much more apt to do that thing because I know that I have AI tooling to help me do that thing. So it might still take a bit. It's, with our newsletter, the podcast, it takes us quite a bit of time still, but it's a lot faster than if we were to have to do it ourselves. And it's a lot of fun, right? Like, we enjoy it. It's a lot of creative work and thinking and, the stuff that you actually want to do, to your point, the stuff that isn't the 62%.
Yeah, and I think that, as you said, it's fun, right? Suddenly things are starting to become fun. And, there are no tasks almost, I think, now that I'm not like, oh, yeah, I don't want to do that. I'm like, oh, okay. Challenge accepted,
Right.
Yeah. I have lots of AI tools, challenge accepted. Let's see, even, one of the craziest things that, I don't do enough of, and I recommend everybody to do, is, go out for a walk. Put your AirPods on and open up ChatGPT voice and go for a walk and just chat to your assistant. Talk to it like an assistant, right? And say, hey, I want to do this, I want to do that. Ask me relevant questions and so on. And 30 minutes has passed. You've done some exercise. You've walked, or you've seen the nature. You've got some sunlight, and you come back, and suddenly you have all that documented in your ChatGPT done for you. Right, that's an awesome thing. I don't do enough because it's about 40 degrees Celsius. It's too hot, basically, to go out. In the evening is okay. But like in September, my daughter's starting a new school, and it's 25-minute drive. And it's been, I think, since COVID, I haven't commuted anywhere. She's only 3, and her nursery is just 2 minutes drive from here at the moment. But suddenly she's starting this really good kindergarten. And we're like, okay, as parents, you want to send them to the best kindergarten. Yeah. But then I was like, okay, well, the pro is the best kindergarten, is a bit more international, but the con is 25-minute drive. And I was like, oh shit, and I was a bit like, oh, do I do this to myself? And then I discovered, this new habit that I have is, if I'm driving, I don't listen to music as much anymore. I turn on ChatGPT CarPlay, right? And I connect it to my CarPlay. And again, I'm like, hey, let's brainstorm, let's do things together. So when I'm driving 25 minutes with my daughter to school, I'll be chatting to her, so that we have a good relationship. But when I'm coming back on my own, I have 25 minutes of productivity now, right? And that's twice a day, right? So suddenly I have 50 minutes of me and ChatGPT in voice mode. This is why I can't wait for the advanced new voice mode. It's coming very soon. I'm sure we're not going to be the alpha testers. So end of month, we're not going to be the alpha testers. At least me, hopefully. I'd love to. But so do we. By end of the year, hopefully we'll have it all. And that's going to be a whole, as ChatGPT would say, a game changer, right? It's going to be a huge game changer in our lives.
Yeah, I can't wait to delve into it.
Delve into it. I was just going to say, you kind of brought things back to the personal side of things, and I absolutely love the story about how your pool guy didn't show up for a bit, and how you used AI to kind of solve that problem. Do you want to run through that real quick, Tim?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So in south of Turkey, in Bodrum, this is like they call it the Riviera of the Middle East or this part of the world, and in the summer, in July, August, especially. June a bit, September a bit, but July, August, it gets so packed. and millions of people come here to their summer house and so on. I live here in the winter; it's beautiful. There's nobody, right? In the winter is amazing, but in the summer it's a nightmare. And this pool guy, you pay him all year long, and then the summer is coming. He gets too much work, and potentially other people are paying him more. Yeah. So he kind of says, "Oh, I'm coming Friday. I'm coming Friday." For 2 months, just before that big season, he was building pools for hotels, for new houses and stuff like that. He stopped coming, and my pool's starting to get, dirty-ish. I still clean it. I do things, but I'm not an expert. And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, you don't have to be an expert. That's almost anything anymore. You have to be a generalist, and you need to know which tools to use, right? And you have to be curious." So I went down in the pool room. There's a lot of valves, and there's a lot of machines and stuff like that, because it's also a salt pool that creates chlorine naturally or whatever, things like that, which is awesome for my kids. Yeah. And I took pictures of everything. And first of all, I took a picture of that, and I asked ChatGPT. I said, "What is this?" It would tell me what it is. Then I would take another picture. I took a picture of the whole system. Pictures of the whole system, and it explained me everything. I was like, "Yeah, great." I don't want to really understand what is what. I kind of read it. I was like, "Yeah, that's good." But I was like, "Okay, so how do I maintain this? What do I do?" And it just gave me the whole process. It gave me, okay, open this valve, close that, or turn off the engine, check that, and do that, all that. Yeah. And suddenly, I said, "Okay, can you give me a schedule to maintain my pool?" Boom, it gave me a schedule to maintain my pool. I was like, "Wow, that's awesome," but still required manual time. So then I found another guy that is not a pool expert, but I just gave him the process. I was like, "Here you go. Here's the process. You don't have to be a pool expert. You could just use it," right? So I've designed the whole system for you. Just go.
That is awesome.
Execute. So then I delegated that as well, so figured it out, delegated it. So I think that, I do like that story, because, I don't do it enough again, but that day when I did it, I saw really good output, and, it really helped a lot. There's so many other things we could use, just pictures and let it explain us and just go fix things.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. So Tim, I had another question that I definitely wanted to ask you here, which was really with using AI, because people, they don't know what works, what doesn't work. Could you give us maybe a couple of tips about like either warnings or things that you found work well, or maybe one thing that you find works really well and one thing that you find you want to steer people away from for the listeners?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what works really well is not to use it as the AI that should do the job for you, right? And a lot of people are like, "Go write a LinkedIn post," and they're like, "The LinkedIn post is crap," or they're like, "Hey, write a process about this," and the process is crap, and then they're like, and then I've had people come to me, they're like, "How do you like ChatGPT so much? It's crap." I'm like, "Well, no, what you input is crap," right?
Yeah.
And then what works really well because of that is, telling it what you want to achieve and to ask you the relevant questions, right? And then tell it to interview you, and not expecting the AI to have all the information and get to the result, but to guide you to the result together. As somebody who has ADHD, and then suddenly I get 12 questions, I'm like, "Oh my God, this is scary." So now each time I ask it to ask the questions one by one. Let me answer one before we move to the next one. And then suddenly it becomes a flow, it becomes a conversation, and then I answer, and then it starts making me think a lot. And we are the smart ones. AI is not the smart one. AI has data, has knowledge of the web and all the data that it was trained on, but it doesn't have our logic yet, or our creativity of thinking outside the box, because at the end it's a box, right? So when we use our outside of the box thinking, and we use the box for what it's good at directing us in the right direction, asking us the good questions, noting them down, and then documenting it in a nice, neat format, you save a lot of time, but two, there are no tasks then that that is boring, right? Because it's just a bunch of questions. You answer your questions, and you're gonna get there. So I think this is the best way to use AI today in your jobs, in any job, is to say, "Hey, ask me this is what I want to do. This is what you're good at. Ask me the questions." And it asks you really good questions that sometimes you're like, "Wow, I didn't even think about this." Right?
At all, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I think that's really what I would suggest for everybody to do today. It's just, you're doing a project, you're doing a task, go tell ChatGPT or similar tools and ask it to ask you the questions. And you'll be like, okay, because the result is going to be what's coming from you and not what's coming from the AI suddenly. So the result is going to be good, hopefully, right? If you answer good questions in a good way, you're going to really get there. And I think the couple of things not to do, I guess I kind of said it, is, don't tell it to do something for you without your information and the context. In some minor tasks, yes, if your prompt is good, that's fine. But most of the time you want to take the interview me approach. Let's do it together, let's brainstorm together approach. I think that works really well. And I think the other thing to not do at the moment is to output something and not really double check it, triple check it, and go through the whole thing. We've seen it in books now, even we've seen it in publishings. Is that here's your revised text, and then there's a revised text.
I know.
And people are doing that all the time now. You see blogs, here's a revised text and stuff like that. So let's adopt AI and make sure that it's a habit, but also the habit is that we are the ones who actually takes the output and puts it somewhere or does something with it. So it's still our final responsibility to check that, and if you got to change something, go and change it, but always check. Let's not take humans are lazy, and it's good to be lazy, because when we're lazy we find new things and we innovate and better processes and stuff. But let's not be lazy on being the quality control. I think that's kind of what I would recommend.
Yeah, those are both great. Rico, I have maybe one or two more questions, but before I go, do you have anything for Tim that you wanted to ask him specifically?
No, I just wanted to, so on your lazy thing, so I used to have an algebra teacher used to say, I'm lazy/efficient. And if there's anything that kind of drives the point home, especially with ADHD and having a short attention span, is you're always looking for a faster way to do something, a more efficient way to do something. So I love how you've taken something that a lot of people would view as like a disability, and you're using the superpower side of it. And it's that rapid processing of information and ways to keep your attention, because I think with technology, algorithms, social media, TikTok, all of that stuff nowadays, people are having a lot shorter time attention span. I think we're shorter than a goldfish at this point. I think we're somewhere like 7 seconds, and goldfish are like 9 seconds. So I absolutely just love everything you're doing with AI, especially in your personal life as well. And I just look forward to hearing more from you in the future for sure. I mean, this is great stuff.
Thanks, Rico. I think it's still early days. I think we're gonna,
for sure.
As we said, the advanced voice mode or the vision mode that we're gonna have on the desktop app. That's going to be incredible. The vision mode that we're going to have on the desktop, and just watches what we're doing and is like, oh, hey, be careful, you've done something there. It's like, what? So this type of things coming is just going to help us so much. And, I think I think it's the time to adopt now. Even if it's going to change a lot, I tell people, and a lot of people say prompt engineering is not important. It's not going to be important. Yes, it's not going to be important, maybe, because it's going to prompt itself and stuff like that. But if you learn that today, you're going to be much more advanced when that's not needed.
Absolutely.
So you're going to know much better.
Yep. You'll understand it. Yep.
And you'll know when it's gone off the rails, right? Like you can actually dig in and say, oh, just like now, to your point, Tim, you need to scrutinize those outputs. You'll with that agentic, hey, it's going. You'll really need to scrutinize, right? You're going to need to know what's going on in the middle too. So, I guess one other thing that I was just, and these are just kind of fun ones, but if you any good books, read any good books on AI recently that you want to share with listeners? I don't know if you're a book reader or I'm sure you are. I see a bunch behind you there.
I am a book reader, and I love books. I haven't started to read it, but I think, is it called The Maniac? And it's more a story. Everybody's been recommending it. It's about, it's spoiler alert, is about AI. But it's on my Kobo. I haven't started it yet, but everybody's raving about it. But right now, I'm reading a book that has nothing to do with AI, but it could actually, because it's about reality, called Reality Transurfing by Vadim Zeland. Incredible book. It's it's a big book. It's somewhere here. I can bring it. It's thick. 1 second.
Squirrel.
Yeah.
So this is Reality Transurfing. It's a big book, really badly written in English because he translated himself, I think, from Russian. But it's starting to make a question about reality and what is reality, and kind of a little bit Elon Musky. Are we, are we in a simulation and things like that,
right.
and all that?
Yep.
But teaches a lot of great values that humans should have. And it's a bit of a culty secret book. I shouldn't have said it. So, but I've said it. Here you go.
We won't tell anybody.
We won't publish this episode. I'll just say no. We're not doing this episode.
That's it. No. I think it helps a lot of people. But it's one of those books, as a lot of people told me, you can read it in the right time. If it's not the right time in your life, in your career, in your personal life, then you're going to read it, you're like, this is bullshit. But when it's the right time, and it just became the right time, it's been a while, people are recommending, actually my business partner's been recommending to me, and I'm like, well, yeah. And then I started at the right time, apparently, and now I'm obsessed about it.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Very good. Very good.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. So as we close out here, Tim, did you have anything else you want to close out with the listeners? And I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been fantastic. Love the insights. I think you got a great vibe. I think everybody on this meeting has ADHD, probably to a really intense level too, right? So I think that's why we all get along together. And again, like I said, I've had many people come up to me or call me or message me, when are you going to do something on sales and marketing and GTM? So this is that episode, and I think there's been a lot of great insights. So I just want to thank you, for that and coming on the show.
Oh, well, thank you guys. It's absolute pleasure, and now I do understand the energy in the room, and I think that we could have many other conversations for many hours, and hopefully game together as well, because I heard about it.
Yes.
100% up for that. But what I want to say, I think, is that it's this fear, that everybody has this. Not everybody, but a lot of people still has this fear of losing their jobs or being automated and stuff like that. Is if you do fear it, it'll happen to you, kind of thing. But if you love it and you're like, wow, I love this, what's happening in the world, and you look at you look at anything from the fuller side of the glass, or from the love and not the fear, that's really where you're gonna start thriving, and. So it's more a call on people, there could be depression, there could be all these kind of things, but there's so much out there that you can help yourself, that you can learn new things, new skills, you can get into new industries now, you can learn anything, even with YouTube we were able to do that, but now with AI, you just ask it to give you a 12-week program and go every day and say, what should I learn today? And it'll give you everything you need. It's incredible, so use that, guys. You're living in 2024. It's a great time to be alive, even if the US election is not the best, I know.
That's a whole other podcast.
I had to put there somewhere.
We appreciate it across the pond.
Well, don't worry, I live in Turkey, which is even worse, right? So that's fine. But that's one of those things, right? So if you get stuck in that and the fear and all that, the news is negative, everything's negative in the world. It's done on purpose to control us, kind of thing. But if you look at it from a love, self-growth, and family and friends, and and thriving in your own bubble, helping your own bubble, your first circle, if we can do that, we're gonna have a great time. So this is a bit my recommendation for everybody, and I guess I'll give a quick call to action, because I'm getting very serious about my LinkedIn content and my newsletter. So if you find Tim Cakir on LinkedIn, I have a newsletter there as well. It's free, it's weekly. And I do a bunch of videos and stuff like that on Instagram and YouTube now, starting slowly. So so I'll share whatever I know. hopefully people find value in it.
That's awesome, and we'll put that in the show notes as well, Tim. I've taken a look at that, and I appreciate what you're doing, and so it's always great to get those extra insights. Even as somebody who publishes on my own newsletter, right? It's great to see what others are doing. To your point, Allie K. Miller, right? Like we all have people that we're keeping an eye on and we're thinking about and we're interacting with. So no, that's great. Rico, any final words?
I just want to say great outlook there, Tim. I really appreciate everything you just said. I'm on board with that. And I really would look forward to having future conversations and probably jumping online with you here sometime. So thank you very much for joining us.
I'd love that as well. Thank you,
awesome.
guys. Thank you, everybody, for listening as well.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
all right.
Tim.
Thanks, everybody. And we'll see you back in the lab very soon, folks. See ya.
Bye, everyone.